The Sahara Desert had kept its secret for 5 centuries. Beneath millions of tons of sand and stone, deeper than any archaeological expedition had ever reached, something vast and ancient waited in darkness. The coordinates were lost to time. The records had been sealed, then forgotten, then erased entirely from humanity's collective memory during the Great Reformation, that peaceful age when Earth's nations finally united and swore to leave their weapons behind. But the desert remembered. Commander Elena Vasquez stood at the edge of the excavation site, her boots planted in sand that glowed amber under the setting sun. The wind pulled at her jacket, carrying whispers of heat and time. She was 32 years old, a decorated officer in the United Human Navy, and according to genetic records recovered from old Earth archives, she was a direct descendant of Admiral Marcus Vasquez, the man who had commanded humanity's greatest and most terrible creation. "Ma'am, the final scan is complete," said Lieutenant Chen, approaching with a data pad that trembled slightly in his hands. "The structure it's exactly what the fragments said it would be." Elena took the pad, her dark eyes scanning the holographic readout. The image showed something that shouldn't exist, a massive signature buried 3 kilometers beneath their feet. It was a ship. Not just any ship, but a vessel so large it dwarfed every carrier in the current fleet combined. "How long has it been down there?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. 512 years, ma'am, since 2513, when the War Council ordered all Dreadnought-class vessels decommissioned and buried. This one, Chen hesitated. This one was supposed to have been dismantled entirely, but they couldn't bring themselves to destroy it, Elena thought. They buried it instead, like a dark family secret. The United Human Navy had changed dramatically over the centuries. Humanity had spread across dozens of star systems, establishing colonies on more than 40 worlds. They had made first contact with 17 alien civilizations, joined the Galactic Commerce Assembly, and earned a reputation as peaceful explorers and tireless diplomats. No one remembered the wars anymore. No one talked about the years when humanity had fought not just for survival, but for dominance. When Earth's fleets had been instruments of devastation so terrible that entire enemy armadas had surrendered at the mere sight of human warships on their sensors. That was the old humanity. The humanity that built weapons instead of bridges. But the galaxy was changing again. 3 months ago, the Zerthian Imperium, a militant civilization that controlled over 200 worlds, had issued an ultimatum. Human colonies in the Outer Reach were to be evacuated within 60 standard days. The systems would be annexed. Resistance would be met with appropriate force. The Galactic Assembly had done nothing. Debates dragged on. Diplomatic channels froze in bureaucratic ice, and yesterday, the deadline had passed. Reports were flooding in from the frontier. Orbital bombardments, civilian transports intercepted, entire settlements going dark. The Zerthians weren't negotiating anymore. They were conquering. "Begin the extraction," Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the weight settling on her shoulders. "Activate the secondary pylons and start pumping. I want that ship exposed to atmosphere within 48 hours. Commander, are you certain?" Chen's voice dropped to a whisper. "The Council of Worlds specifically forbade." "The Council of Worlds," Elena interrupted, "is watching our people die while they draft their 7th resolution condemning the violence." "We're out of time, Lieutenant. If we want to save those colonies, we need more than words." Chen nodded slowly, then relayed the orders through his comm unit. Within minutes, the excavation site transformed into a hive of mechanical fury. Massive bore drills descended into the sand, their plasma cutters glowing blue-white as they carved through stone and sediment. Gravitational displacement fields hummed to life, pushing aside megatons of Earth with invisible hands. The ground itself began to tremble. Elena activated her personal comm and opened a secure channel to Earth Command. Admiral Kowalski's weathered face appeared in the holographic projection, his expression grim. "Commander Vasquez," he said, "I assume you're calling to confirm the excavation is proceeding." "Yes, sir. We'll have the Prometheus exposed within 2 days, but I need authorization codes to proceed beyond that point." Kowalski was silent for a long moment. Behind him, Elena could see the Situation Room, a space filled with tactical displays showing the unfolding disaster in the Outer Reach. Red icons marked lost colonies. Yellow icons showed systems under attack. The map was bleeding. Elena, the Admiral said quietly, using her first name for the first time she could remember. What we're about to do, it changes everything. The galaxy sees us as peaceful, gentle. Once we wake that ship, once we show them what humanity built in our darker days, we can never go back to being the civilization we've pretended to be. Elena looked out across the desert, toward the horizon where the first stars were beginning to appear in the deepening twilight. Somewhere beyond that sky, her people were dying. Families huddled in shelters. Children cried for parents who would never come home. With respect, Admiral, she said softly, maybe it's time they remembered we chose to be peaceful, that our mercy was a gift, not a weakness. Kowalski closed his eyes briefly, then nodded. Authorization codes are being transmitted now. God help us all, Commander. Wake the Prometheus. The transmission ended. Beneath the sand, something ancient stirred. The galaxy was about to remember what humanity had deliberately forgotten. The first breach came at 0347 hours. Elena stood in the command bunker, surrounded by holographic displays that painted the darkness in shades of electric blue. Outside, the excavation had become a cathedral of light. Hundreds of spotlights illuminating a wound in the earth so deep it seemed to pierce into another world. And rising from that wound, like a titan clawing free from its grave, was the UHNS Prometheus. Holy Mother of... Lieutenant Chen breathed, his words trailing into awed silence. The ship's hull emerged meter by meter, shedding sand like water. It was obsidian black, constructed from composite materials that humanity had stopped producing centuries ago. Materials designed not just to withstand weapons fire, but to absorb it, to drink it in and convert the energy into power. The surface was smooth, almost organic, broken only by seams where weapon ports lay dormant behind retractable armor plating. How big is it? Someone whispered from the back of the command center. 4 kilometers long, Elena replied, her eyes never leaving the displays. 1.2 kilometers at the widest beam. Crew capacity of 12,000. Armament classified, but according to the fragments we recovered. She paused, pulling up a schematic that made several officers gasp. 32 heavy plasma lance batteries, 64 railgun arrays, a spinal mount particle cannon that runs the entire length of the ship, and a quantum displacement drive that could put it anywhere in known space within 72 hours. That's not a warship, Chen said quietly. That's an extinction-level weapon. Elena nodded slowly. He wasn't wrong. The Prometheus had been built during the Succession Wars, when humanity fought 3 alien civilizations simultaneously, wars that Earth's historians now called the regrettable period in sanitized textbooks. The ship had ended those wars, not through negotiation or compromise, but through overwhelming, undeniable force. It had made an example of the Kreth battle fleet at Proxima, reducing 200 warships to expanding clouds of debris in under 6 minutes. After that, the other civilizations had sued for peace. Status report, Elena ordered, pushing aside the weight of history. The main reactor is still intact, reported Chief Engineer Ramirez, her fingers dancing across haptic controls. Unbelievable. 500 years in stasis and the containment fields are still holding. Whoever designed this thing built it to last forever. Power systems, minimal. We're reading a heartbeat. Just enough energy to maintain containment and preserve the AI core. But ma'am, Ramirez looked up, her expression uncertain. The ship is responding to our presence. It's recognizing the excavation equipment. Almost like it's anticipating activation. A chill ran down Elena's spine. The Prometheus had been one of 3 ships equipped with a proto-sentient combat AI, a system so advanced and so dangerous that it had been banned by international treaty immediately after the wars ended. The other 2 ships had been dismantled, their AIs carefully deconstructed and archived. But the Prometheus had been buried whole. Can we establish communication with the AI core? I wouldn't recommend, can we? Ramirez hesitated, then nodded. Yes, ma'am. But if we wake it, there's no guarantee it will recognize current command protocols. That AI was designed for war. It doesn't know the galaxy changed. Elena made her decision. Open a channel. Direct connection to the core. Authorization Vasquez Omega 7. The command center fell silent. On the main display, lines of ancient code flickered to life. Languages that predated modern systems, running on architecture that Earth's current computers couldn't even emulate. The excavation lights outside dimmed momentarily as power surged through newly awakened systems. Then, a voice emerged from the speakers. It was neither male nor female, but something between, smooth, precise, and utterly inhuman. Command authorization recognized. Vasquez genetic markers confirmed. Admiral Marcus Vasquez descendant identified. Elena stepped forward. This is Commander Elena Vasquez, United Human Navy. Prometheus report status. UHNS Prometheus Dreadnought class. Offline for 512 years, 3 months, 17 days. All primary systems dormant, secondary systems operational. Crew complement, 0. Current threat. Assessment, unknown. Awaiting orders. Threat assessment, Elena repeated. Prometheus access current military databases. Analyze the situation in the outer reach sectors. Tell me what we're facing. There was a pause. 3 seconds that felt like an eternity. When the AI spoke again, something had changed in its tone. Something almost like concern. Analysis complete. Zerthian Imperium. Military forces have initiated hostile actions against 17 human colonies. Estimated civilian casualties. 423,000 and rising. Current United Human Navy response inadequate. Enemy force projection overwhelming. Another pause. Commander Vasquez, humanity is losing this conflict. Your current fleet composition is designed for peacekeeping and exploration. The Zerthians possess a war fleet. You are outmatched, outgunned, and running out of time. Elena felt every eye in the command center turn toward her. This was the moment. The decision that would define not just her career, but humanity's place in the galaxy for generations to come. Prometheus, she said quietly, if we activate you fully, if we bring you back online and send you to the outer reach, can you stop them? The AI's response was immediate. Affirmative. The Zerthian fleet poses no significant threat to this vessel. Estimated time to complete pacification of hostile forces, 4 hours, 17 minutes. Estimated enemy casualties, total. The word hung in the air like a blade. Chen stepped close to Elena, speaking so only she could hear. Commander, if we do this, if we unleash that thing, the galaxy will never look at us the same way again. Elena thought of the colony on Heracles Prime. She'd visited there once, 3 years ago. A thriving settlement of 200,000 people. Farmers, teachers, artists, children playing in streets lined with earth trees transplanted across light years. Yesterday, the Zerthians had burned it from orbit. She thought of her ancestor, Admiral Marcus Vasquez, who had made similar choices in a darker age, who had carried the weight of necessary violence so his descendants could live in peace. Maybe, Elena said softly, it's time they remembered that peace is a choice we make. And when someone mistakes our mercy for weakness, she turned to face the main display, where the Prometheus loomed like a shadow given form. Prometheus. Begin full activation sequence. Prepare for combat operations. Acknowledged. Initiating awakening protocols. Commander Vasquez, it has been a long sleep. It will be interesting to remind the galaxy why humanity was feared. Outside, the desert night split open with light as the Prometheus's reactor roared to life. The ghost of humanity's war had awakened, and it was hungry. The Prometheus broke atmosphere 72 hours. Later, Elena stood on the bridge, a vast cathedral of tactical displays and command stations that had been silent for 5 centuries. Now it thrummed with power, every system singing in perfect harmony as thousands of automated processes woke from their long hibernation. The crew was minimal, just 300 specialists, but the ship didn't need thousands of hands anymore. It had been built to fight with or without a full complement. It had been built to win. Jump calculations complete, reported Navigation Officer Park, his voice tight with tension. Quantum displacement drive is charged and ready. Destination, Heracles system, outer reach sector. Elena took a breath, her hand resting on the command chair that had once belonged to her ancestor. Through the forward viewport, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the black. Somewhere down there, the Council of Worlds was in emergency session, demanding explanations, threatening sanctions, calling this activation an act of aggression. Let them talk, she thought. While they debate, our people die. All stations report status. Weapon systems online. Called out Tactical Officer Morrison. All batteries charged. Spinal cannon ready. Point defense grids active. Engineering reports 97% efficiency across all systems. Ramirez added from her station. Ma'am, this ship is running better than our newest cruisers. Whatever they built this thing with, it doesn't age. Communications? Broad spectrum arrays operational. We're receiving distress signals from multiple colonies. Heracles Prime, New Shenzhen, Terra Nova Station. Ma'am, the Zerthians are burning everything. They're not even bothering with occupation anymore, just destruction. Elena's jaw tightened. Prometheus, analyze enemy fleet composition in the Heracles system. The AI's voice filled the bridge, calm and precise. 17 Zerthian capital ships. 43 cruiser-class vessels, 162 support craft. Total enemy force. 222 ships. They are conducting orbital bombardment of the primary colony world. 200 ships, Chen breathed. Commander, even with the Prometheus, those odds are irrelevant, Elena finished. She turned to face her crew. These men and women who had volunteered to crew a ghost ship, to become the instruments of a war humanity had tried to forget. I won't lie to you. What we're about to do will change everything. The galaxy has seen humanity as peaceful explorers for 500 years. In about 10 minutes, we're going to remind them that we chose peace, that it wasn't forced upon us. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Zerthians believe we're weak. They believe that because we don't brandish our weapons, we don't have claws. They're about to learn the difference between cannot and will not. Elena's voice hardened. We are going to that system. We are going to stop the bombardment. And we are going to show the Zerthian Imperium what happens when you mistake humanity's mercy for helplessness. A chorus of affirmatives rang through the bridge. Prometheus, Elena commanded, settling into the command chair. Take us to Heracles. Maximum displacement. Acknowledged. Initiating quantum jump, Commander Vasquez. Thank you for waking me. The universe folded. Space tore open above Heracles Prime like a wound in reality itself. The Prometheus emerged in a flash of distorted light, its massive form materializing less than 50,000 kilometers from the planet. Practically knife-fighting range in space warfare. Every sensor in the Zerthian fleet immediately screamed warnings, their tactical systems struggling to classify the impossible signature that had just appeared. On the bridge, Elena watched the enemy fleet react with practiced efficiency. They were well-trained, she'd give them that. Capital ships were already rotating to face the new threat, weapons charging, fighters launching from carrier bays. It wouldn't matter. Prometheus, broadcast on all channels. Make sure every ship in this system hears this. Channel open. Elena stood, her voice carrying the weight of 5 centuries of restrained power. Attention Zerthian fleet. This is Commander Elena Vasquez of the United Human Navy ship Prometheus. You have exactly 60 seconds to cease bombardment operations and withdraw from this system. This is your only warning. The response came quickly, a gruff voice filled with contempt. Unknown human vessel, you are heavily outmatched. Stand down or be destroyed. The Imperium does not. 50 seconds, Elena interrupted calmly. You dare threaten us? We will. 40 seconds. Prometheus, target the lead capital ship. Spinal cannon, 30% power. Targeting solution locked. The Zerthian commander's voice turned sharp with alarm. All ships engage the human warship. Destroy. Fire. The Prometheus's spinal cannon spoke for the first time in 500 years. A lance of coherent energy, pure, terrible, and beautiful, crossed the space between ships in a microsecond. It struck the Zerthian flagship amidships, punching through shields that had been designed to withstand modern naval weaponry. The shields might as well have been tissue paper. The enemy flagship split in two, its reactor going critical, painting space with fire. One shot, one ship, 30% power. The Zerthian fleet froze, caught between attack and retreat. 20 seconds, Elena said into the sudden silence. Prometheus, charge all weapon systems. Full power. The lights on the bridge dimmed as the ship's reactor fed enormous power into its weapon arrays. Outside, the Prometheus seemed to come alive. Gun ports opening, energy crackling along its hull, the very fabric of space around it warping from the sheer output of its weapons grid. All batteries ready, targeting solutions for all 2. 121 remaining vessels locked and confirmed. 10 seconds, wait. The Zerthian second-in-command's voice cracked with sudden fear. Wait, we are withdrawing. Cease fire! We are withdrawing! The enemy fleet began to scatter, their weapons powering down, their ships breaking formation in desperate retreat. Within 3 minutes, every Zerthian vessel had jumped to faster than light, fleeing the system like prey before a predator. The Prometheus hadn't fired another shot. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Prometheus, stand down. Begin rescue operations for any survivors on the surface. Acknowledged. Commander, we have multiple incoming transmissions from the other colonies under attack. They are requesting assistance. Plot courses to each system. We'll visit them one by one. Ma'am, Chen said quietly. What do we tell the Council when they demand answers? Elena looked out at the stars, at the vast galaxy that humanity shared with so many civilizations. Some peaceful, some curious, and some, like the Zerthians, who only understood strength. We tell them the truth, she said, that for 500 years humanity chose peace. We built schools instead of warships. We extended hands instead of fists. But we never forgot how to fight. We just chose not to. She turned to face her crew. And now the galaxy will remember humanity's mercy is not weakness. It's a gift. And that gift has conditions. Course plotted to New Shenzhen, the Prometheus announced. Ready to jump on your command. Take us there, Elena ordered. Let's go save our people. The Prometheus vanished in a flash of light, leaving behind a planet saved and an enemy fleet that would carry tales of the ghost ship, the ancient terror that humanity had buried but never truly destroyed. Word spread faster than light itself. Within days, the entire galaxy knew humanity had awakened something ancient and unstoppable. The Zerthian Imperium formally withdrew from all occupied human territories. The Galactic Assembly emergency session ended with unanimous agreement that human sovereignty was to be respected. And in the depths of space, the Prometheus continued its patrol, a silent promise to all who would threaten humanity's children. We are peaceful, we are kind, we are explorers and dreamers, but we are also the descendants of warriors. Test us at your peril. The galaxy had been reminded. Humanity had returned.